today, I'm signing an executive order. All passenger vehicles sold by 2030 will be electric.
Depending on who you are, electric cars are either a breakthrough of transportation or a colossal deception built on lies.
These policies, they're not just destroying lives. They're rooted in lies, all of them.
All of this with the global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay?
The things I saw there were so appalling and heart-wrenching and urgent.
In the country.
It's the greatest fraud that's been perpetrated on mankind this century.
The scam of electric cars start here. What you're looking at is a Joe Rogan podcast where he interviews Siddharth Kara.
Throughout the whole history of slavery, I mean, I'm going back centuries, never in human history has there been more suffering that generated more profit and was linked to the lives of more people around the world. Ever in history.
A few weeks ago, a CBS News investigation revealed how young children in the Democratic Republic of the Congo are risking their lives mining cobalt.
This video you were looking at on Joe Rogan's podcast was a cobalt mine. Now, cobalt can be found all around the globe, but there's one place that can produce cobalt like nowhere else in the world. This is Congo, a huge country in the middle of Africa, and is home to more than 63% of all the world's cobalt. Now, the video you saw was just one of 19 of their mines here in Congo. As you can see, these are the most horrifying working conditions I've ever seen. I'm talking about no safety equipment, no safety protocols, and deaths happening daily.
Right. People even are dying for lack of safety. If a worker dies, they will go and bury the person, hiding the corpse.
They'll bury somebody who was killed at the mine.
They don't show to the government.
Clean cobalt.
There's no clean cobalt.
It's not real.
No, it's all marketing. It's all PR. It's a fiction. Just like that place.
See, there are two ways to mine cobalt. Either industrial or artisanal. Industrial meaning with tractors, excavators, and heavy equipment. Or artisanal meaning cruel labor, intensive work. And that's what you're seeing in this video. Where things get interesting is when you dive into the history of the Democratic Republic of Congo. See, they're sitting on an insane amount of resources. I'm talking copper, diamonds, gold, just name a few. To put it into number, they are sitting on around $24 trillion in resources. But yet they're one of the poorest countries in the world. Now, why is this? The Democratic Republic of Congo for centuries has been ravaged by outsiders since the dawn of time. Fast forward to 2008, and China took a wild bet that cobalt would be widely used in the future, and struck a massive deal with the cobalt mines.
2008, the Democratic Republic of Congo struck a big deal with Beijing.
And they're right. I mean, just look at this graph of how much the value of cobalt has risen. This led me to ask, why cobalt? Why is cobalt suddenly so needed? To understand this, we need to talk about batteries and how they're made. See, batteries are made from a mix of lithium and cobalt. Lithium used to be the main component of electric car batteries, but these lithium batteries had problems, such as being unstable and result catching fire. They also had really bad range. EV companies seeked out to fix this, trying to increase their range and stability. Cobalt was introduced and it worked. Ever since, cobalt demand has dramatically increased, and by a lot. Cobalt production is set to increase at a little under 600% by 2050. The big problem about all of this is we're being lied to. All these big tech companies make going green seem so good, until you really see where they're getting resources. And it doesn't stop at cobalt. As we talked about, you need a lot of lithium to make batteries that have pretty questionable way of production. Welcome to the Lithium Triangle. It is where here they store and produce more than half of the global supply of lithium. To understand their questionable practices, I won't bore you, but let's briefly get into how lithium is made. Lithium comes from the ground and lies in underground saltwater, or better known as brine, and then it is pumped to the surface. Billions of it is pumped up every year at this location, and what you're looking at is pools of this brine, and then they slowly evaporate and concentrate, in turn leaving lithium. But see, there's one big problem with this. They're also using millions of gallons of fresh water, and in this location, it's one of the driest places on Earth. For instance, this is just one of the locals talking about how little water they have.
Y año tras año sigue bajando el nivel. Antes aquí las familias convivían con el ganado sobre todo. Como había sequía, no había pasto, el agua se ha secado y han preferido migrar por fuentes de trabajo.
All this is in pursuit for one thing, to reduce CO2 gas. As I looked into these so-called climate activists, I found one video in particular.
On that issue, pollution, I understand that you came here with a private jet. Is that an environmental way to travel?
If you offset your carbon, it's the only choice for somebody like me who is traveling the world to win this battle.
Meet John Kerry, the climate activist for the Biden administration. This is a video where he's arguing with a reporter for being accused of flying his private jet all the way to Iceland because of how much CO2 a private jet emits. And this was just one of his flights. Last year, he used this jet over 40 times, and in doing so, emitting around 325 metric tons of CO2. To put this in perspective, a gas-powered car emits around 57 metric tons in its whole lifetime, and that's including production all the way till its last mile. The hypocrisy just blew my mind. I mean, how could someone that believes so much in something and ridicule the public on a regular basis on how we need to drive electric cars and turn around and use his private jet constantly? And it doesn't stop here. He's not the only one. I'm talking about some of the biggest climate activists, celebrities, politicians, influencers fighting for climate change.
Climate change is our single greatest security threat.
While flying on private jets all around the world. After everything, there's just one question left. Is this all worth it? Child labor, causing droughts, pushing these mandates that ultimately will change everything in the means of transportation. Now let me break it down to you why I don't think it's worth it. The International Energy Agency released a report stating that if every nation achieves their ambition targets on increasing electric car ownership, it will reduce CO2 emissions in this decade by 235 million tons. Now, that's a lot, but how much will that do? Well, according to the UN Climate Panel Standard Mode, in 100 years it will reduce temperature around the globe by about 1/10,000th of a degree Celsius. That is 0.0001 degrees Celsius. Now bear in mind, I don't hate electric cars. As time goes on, they will get more efficient, and it would help with the CO2 that is being emitted into the atmosphere. But as right now, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed in the world of electric cars. Now again, the next and final question lies in you. Is this all worth it?